Hello everyone, Krydex here. Welcome back to our Nullius playthrough. In our last episode, we got our boxed base even more boxed and up and running. We got all of our iron pieces running. We still need steel. I guess I can add that to the list. Steel. Yeah, just steel. That's it. But we finished out our silicon stuff. We got lubricant all running. We made sure caustic solution and hydroxide are good. We are making chlorine on demand. So I assume our chlorine barrels are... Oh, they're not good. So something's gone awry here. Don't know exactly what. We'll find out. Output full. Output of what? Sure doesn't look like your outputs are full. We'll fix that. But we're going to be working on plastic in this episode, which will be a bit of a journey. We probably won't even get to plastic, to be honest, because I already know in the back of my mind that we're going to need lots of propene, and I feel like a massive propene factory is in order. Now, I'm very confused on why these guys... Oh, gosh, I forgot the inserters from the last episode. That's what happened. So that'll do it. That should fix all of my problems. Now we're providing chlorine. So, yeah, let's kind of just take a crack at what plastic might look like. So boxed plastic, it's 5 per box. It looks like this is the only recipe you can make boxed, so that's what we'll go with. And I don't know, 5 per second? That doesn't feel too crazy, and looks like the number of chemical plants is not too insane. So that's 25 plastic a second. That feels like a good start. So, yeah, here's where we get into the craziness. What I really wish, and I feel like there used to be a mod or there is a mod. Let me know if you guys know if it still exists and isn't a total UPS hog. I want to know my acrylonitrile. Where has it gone? You know, I know that I've used tons of it. How have I used twice as much as I've produced? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In any case, where is it going? Like, what recipes are using most of it? Because I can't really know the ratios off the top of my head. You know, is it going to rubber? Is it going to plastic? Or is it going to acrylic fiber? And I feel like acrylic fiber is the biggest answer. Because acrylic fiber is needed for the textiles and the carbon fiber, and the carbon fiber goes in lots of things. So I don't really know how much acrylonitrile I'm going to need. I'm going to build a block that makes triple this. So we'll call it 25 per second. Which, how much have we... Look at our old base again. In the last 10 hours, acrylonitrile, we've been producing on average 10 per second. Oh. So we probably want a lot more than this. Let's go with like 40. Or even 150? Is that insanity? We'll see if that's insanity. 300 propene might be worse than I think it is. But we'll go with that for now. BPA needs to be its own little thing. BPA box. Pressurized. Wait, what the heck? I guess the only difference is compressed oxygen. Am I seeing that right? To make 5, we need 50 benzene. To make 3, we need 30. So benzene's the same. Propene is the same. Oxygen is just compressed. And we get compressed CO2 out, which is much better for our system because we have barrels compressed anywhere we can. So that's fine. We also want BPA to be its own little thing because we need BPA for other stuff. So let's make like 4 boxes a second. Feels fine. The amount of propene we're going to need is absolutely bonkers. Butadiene and styrene thankfully are able to be made individually. So we'll have a butadiene block and a styrene block. Why is it showing me the nil equals Nullius? Something's weird. I don't feel like that's normally there when I mouse over those. That feels new. That feels like a bug. I should report that. In any case, what was I looking at? Butadiene. Butadiene is used in plastic and rubber, and that's it. And it's actually way more used in rubber. So rubber box, we need 300 to make 8. Plastic box, we need 30 to make 8. Now, rubber usage versus plastic usage is different. Rubber, 81,000 versus plastics. So I use about a third as much rubber as plastic. So we can assume that in terms of butadiene, so 90 would go to plastic and 300 is still going to rubber. So we will need, what am I trying to say? Whatever butadiene I need for plastic, we need 3 times as much for rubber, so I need 4 times as much total. So if I need 17 butadiene for plastic, I really want quadruple that, which is about 80 per second. Still not all that much. Butadiene is a low volume deal. No, wait, that doesn't feel right. Oh, I guess the 300 butadiene is making 8 boxes of rubber. This still doesn't feel right, because won't I need... If I want 5 boxes of rubber per second, won't I need a ton more? What's going on here? Is it the productivity? It's only 10% productivity. Let's just add the rubber recipe real quick. Honestly, these need a lot of the same ingredients, so I should have just done it this way from the start. This is way smarter. I also want... We saw we're using about a third, so I'll make about a half. Or slightly less than. Maybe I'll do 6 plastic and 3 rubber. Just to make sure. Okay, so that's helpful, because these obviously have a lot of overlap. And solvent, I believe, doesn't that use... No, that uses methanol. It's different. But yeah, what else does BPA go in? That's one of the other ones we were getting hung up on. BPA goes in epoxy. That's what it was. Epoxy, which combines with solvent. Okay. So that's the other hard part. I'm like, how much epoxy have I used versus plastic? It's so tricky. So, epoxy uses basically a half of a BPA, and a plastic uses an eighth. So epoxy uses, well, 3 times as much BPA. So then if we look at epoxy usage, I still don't know why consumption is exactly double production. It's almost exactly double for all of these, and that's very confusing to me. Because even with productivity, that's not going to account for this difference. And even when I look at the all-time graph, they're different. That's impossible, right? That's not... It's literally not possible. Is it because of barreling? Somehow barreling messing this up? I literally don't know. I would hope barreling doesn't count towards these recipes. Because if it does, then these are totally inaccurate. Yeah, something's weird here with fluid production and consumption. All that to say, in 10 hours we've used 200K epoxy, And in 10 hours, we've used 200k plastic. So in terms of BPA, compared to the BPA we need for rubber and... Oh, I forgot about rubber. We need BPA for rubber as well. Wait, no we don't. We need 3 times as much. So if we link this... So 4 per second is actually plenty. In fact, 3 per second I think is plenty. Okay. Just trying to get some ballpark numbers here, because if I don't have the ballpark numbers right, we're going to be really scrambling later. We'll make sure productivity is on everything, because that really adds up. And, yep, definitely on butadiene as well. And I guess, yeah, we didn't look at styrene. That's the last one we haven't looked at. So, styrene... Styrene is used for plastic and rubber only, which we have both of those already set up in here. Yeah. We want that to be its own block, though. Why is it saying 0? We want 3. Wait, where's the styrene? Is that the wrong rubber recipe? Or is styrene only used in the old rubber recipe? I see. The new rubber recipe to make boxed rubber does not use styrene. Ah. It uses butadiene, which uses ethylene. Acrylonitrile, which uses propene and ammonia. I count oxygen as free. Ammonia is basically free too. Those are just electricity. Then again, so is propene. I just feel like propene's the more complicated one. And solvent is methanol, which is also just... All of these are just electricity. Like, none of these require any raw resources. They're just complicated. Oh, so this is a big mess. So we need benzene, ethylene, and propene. And butadiene. Did I not do a butadiene block? Did. The heck? So, oh, the 80 is no longer enough. We need more than 80. Can I link butadiene now? I don't want a blueprint. Go away. Butadiene goes into rubber and plastic. So yes, I can just link butadiene now that I added rubber in. There we go. Okay, so more accurately, these are the needs that I have. At least somewhat accurate. So propene is the big one. Just try to make sure I'm not missing any recipes. Fatty acids, pyrolysis. I'm not going to get that for a long time, I believe. So ethylene pyrolysis, alkene synthesis, and then alkene synthesis light. Which this is ethylene, propene, and benzene in a 6-4-1 ratio. This one is methane, ethylene, propene in a 3-2-1 ratio. Ethylene, propene, benzene. This one doesn't make... Oh, sorry. Sorry, the wrong one. Methane, ethylene... This one doesn't make benzene. Ah. Which is very nice. And methane can be turned back into ethylene, which isn't shown here. And then ethylene can be turned back into all those things, which then does get me benzene, though. So we will need some sort of complicated setups there. And that's also the fatty acid pyrolysis. So the propene... This is a mess. Oh my gosh. So we also get propene from ethylene cracking, and we get ethylene from methane cracking, which is here. And then if I matrix solver this, does the whole world break? It sure does. Yep, that's what I was feared of. What is even happening? It's definitely doing something wrong. So I don't even exactly know how to do this from an input. So if we unlink it, we switch this around. Do I just start with a certain amount of carbon monoxide? And then... No, we need to start with a certain amount of oxygen, actually. And then this makes ethylene, and that ethylene gets broken down into methane, propane, benzene. We matrix solver that because we want to use that methane. And then we want to turn the ethylene Wait, that is this recipe. Sorry. What am I doing? Oh no, that's it. That's all there is to it. Why are we not? I guess we want this to be 100. Yeah, there we go. And then we get propene and benzene out. Not a lot. I mean, that shows you the amount of propene and benzene you get from methane is very small. Like less than 10 to 1. That's like 15 to 1. So that may not even be worth it. Unless I'm getting thousands of methane. I don't even actually want to do it this way. All that to say, we do need propene. Sorry, we're getting stuck in the weeds here. I just feel like there's not a great way to make propene, is what we're realizing. Because methane goes to propene at a 15 to 1 ratio, which is just horrible. But I don't have another option. Unless I'm missing something. Is there another way to use methane that I have forgotten? Methane goes to graphite or ethylene. Or it can help me make carbon monoxide. Maybe that's more effective. Definitely not methanol. That would be helpful. I wonder, before we move on, maybe it's more effective to turn this methane into methane, carbon. Oh, look, I found it. That's the one I want. Carbon monoxide. So our base, let's just actually get the number here. We've got 8.34 out of 133.4, which is that 6.25% ratio. That feels on purpose. If you ditch this rounding error stuff, that is a perfect fraction. It's 1/16th. So that feels like a nice ratio. Okay, so instead we want this to get used in this way. Now compressed is 4 times denser, so we'll call it 37.5 compressed methane, and then that carbon monoxide gets used in the so this gets you the same amount of propene. It gets you a ton of methane instead of ethylene. But wouldn't we rather have the ethylene? Well, it gets it gets you more ethylene as well. and it gets you methane instead of benzene, which is actually good because a lot of times you'd rather have methane than benzene. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here we go. So there's the propene. And then... So that's with a certain amount of methane input. And then that methane gets cycled back in. Oh gosh. So we need to compress it though. Compressed methane. There it is. There we go. So then 37.5 divided by 23.44. Wait, that's not going to work. That's the ratio. I'm getting confused. Yeah, come back. That should work, right? Divided by 23.44, that'll get it down to 1 times 35. Or, sorry, 37.5. Divided by 35 times 37.5. There we go. So then we are getting 30 pro... Okay, that's a lot better. So this process is how we want to get propene. So don't use the methane to ethylene recipe. That's what we're learning. Because then ethylene can also be cracked back this way. And then we get a little bit more methane back, more propene, tiny bit of benzene, which we're going to have to vent if we don't want it. There we go. Divide by 31.25 times 37.5. And now we get our ratio is 51 propene. 51 out of... Oh. Why? Out of 150. So we get 34% back instead of whatever it was we got before, 6.25%. So this is a 5 times more effective way. I don't know about the power. I don't care about the power. This is going to save me a lot of buildings in the long run. This also isn't too many buildings. For 50 propene, it's actually not that bad. And my methane factory, how much methane am I making? 200 per second. So, heck, I can get most of what I need back. We do need compressed CO2. We do need compressed hydrogen. We do need compressed methane. So at its core... How do I get... Isn't there another way to get carbon monoxide, though? Yeah, that way. So I want to mix these two, basically. Methane reforming and carbon monoxide pressurized. I want to do that in such a way... I have no idea how to do this. Basically, I want to do this in such a way that the methane cost goes away. Which it looks like I can just keep changing this number and that will work. Ooh. 200. Ah, there it goes. 50. 100. 120. 130. 140. 150. Why does the methane jump up after that? Oh, I see. That's a problem. Matrix solver breaks everything. Yep, as usual. Don't know why I click it. Not with stuff like this. There's gotta be a way to do this. this episode's title. I can see it coming. The one with the propene craziness. Okay, what we're gonna do... We're going to set up this... output 100 propene. Okay. So then we are going to use the methane ingredient input to make compressed methane. Which is ingredient input linked. Products, there we go. And then we want to make carbon monoxide out of it. So that's spitting hydrogen and carbon monoxide back into the system. Perfect. And then ethylene. We need to do the same thing. Which is here. Ingredient input link. That's also getting me methane. Ta-da! So that's using all the methane. So now we have essentially carbon monoxide to propene ratio. Perfect. And then carbon monoxide we get from carbon dioxide and hydrogen. And now we've boiled it down to 2 ingredients. Perfect. Okay, we have solved the helmod puzzle. So this is all I wanted all along. We get a little bit of benzene out. We'll just be able to vent that into steam if we need to. But I think the actual amount of propene we want is probably like 500. That's a lot. And currently 100 propene is actually getting us 141. So we want that to be like... divide by 141.7 times 500. And then one more for good measure to get the decimals right. Divide by 499.9 times 500. There we go. So this takes a bunch of stuff and makes propene. And the ethylene one, the one that cracks ethylene back in, we will prioritize barrels of ethylene first, because I don't really want... I don't want to make a separate thing for ethylene. We just don't use ethylene in the same quantities. So that should work. Pretty insane amounts of CO2. Won't lie. Don't love that. And we don't get back a ton either. We get back a lot of water, weirdly enough. So compressed CO2... We don't want to do the compressed air thing because then we're wasting tons of power on compressed nitrogen. Which, unless I make a bunch of priority turbine, we're not going to do that. So we are going to actually be compressing CO2 itself, which will be coming from air separation. And is one of these faster for CO2? That's 30 per second, that's 40 per second. In this particular case, I need that. Oh my gosh. Surely this is not right. Feels messed up. Oh, productivity modules. Now that's an idea. Kind of forgot about that. Guess these are the main places I would want it. Still pretty insane. Dropped it down to 34.28. These ones, yeah, definitely want productivity here. Okay, 3,300. Still a lot. Still a lot. Yep, we're gonna have to set this up. And then we also need a lot of compressed hydrogen. Oh my gosh. 54. Wow. 100 megawatts for that. Wowzers. I did not anticipate numbers this big. All to get 500 propene a second. What else does propene go in? Propene goes in acrylonite. It also goes in ECH. And that's actually it. And acrylonitrile, we've already accounted for... Wait, why do I have so much acrylonitrile output? I don't need 150 per second. That's insane. Why would I need 150 per second? When did I put 150 there? Oh, okay, so the amount that I actually need is not going to be 150 per second. I don't know exactly how much it'll be, but it's not going to be that much. Again, this says I've been making like 10 a second. Don't feel like that's super accurate. I don't even know what exactly is going on there. But I think if we drop that down to 50, that'll be a lot more accurate. I think 50 per second. Meaning of excess output on top of all the plastic and rubber is still going to be 26.14. That feels like plenty. So then that drops my propene needs down to 145, which means I can drop this down significantly. I'm just going to cut that in the third. So we'll get a little bit of excess here. And this seems much more doable. 63 buildings, 27 of which are beacons. So, okay, I can handle that. 12 electrolyzers. Yep, that sounds better. So let's start with that, and we'll get a little bit of this done before we wouldn't want to end the episode. Let's go up here. Well, but my methane is already set up here. Actually, I'm kind of like blobbing this way, so maybe I should set it up down here. This feels like a good spot for it. Clearly not building in the original places I intended to, but that's fine. There's no rule that says you have to. We should get some more of these roboports, though. Okay. So we need 12. Let's start with some beacon action. Bam. What is this water doing? Good thing I have landfill. That's annoying. Okay. So electrolyzers don't need to be beaconed because they are, well, too good for beacons. So we'll put those... Blah, 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 blah. I guess I'll just start them out here. So electrolyzers, 4, 5, 6. And we'll do the same thing where we connect them like that. Okay, connect these up. So there's the water. We need about 700 water on that. Copy this stuff down. Okay, so that's all hooked up. I love advanced fluid handling. One of my favorite mods. Now that's all hooked up. Done. The rates are all within one pipe's limit. And now I just need... There's no solids for that, which I love. And now we just need a couple hydro plants to provide said amount of water. Probably 2 is fine. With speed stuff going on? Guessing 2 will be fine. Oh yeah, gosh, that's plenty. Wastewater is small enough, and I have enough other wastewater inputs. I'm not gonna concern myself with bottling it. And here we can put a T underground. That can be... Oh, no, that doesn't work. There we go. Okay, that'll do it. And then we just need a heck of a lot of wells. Is that enough? Yeah, 1,000 should be fine. Here, I think we can just do it this way. Is that enough? 525? Potentially not. Do need a couple more. That should probably fit the bill. 1,000? Yeah, 1,000 will bring me down to like 800 or something, but that's more than enough. Okay, so there's all that. There's my gases. We're making up to 275 compressed oxygen, so I need quite a few active gas barrelings for oxygen. Let's put this down here. No, that's farther for the bots to fly. We'll put it up here. So active gas barreling. We probably want 1, 2... three, and switch this over to oxygen. Now, can these be affected by beacons? Doesn't look like they can, but the barrelers can. And these can handle up to 500 a second, which I assume also applies to 500 oxygen per second. But I actually don't know that for sure. And then we want oxygen to go this way. That should not have water in it. Okay, these are all just oxygen barrels less than 1,000. And then hook the oxygen up. There we go. Okay, so we got the oxygen taken care of. And that step's done. Then there's the big step of air filtering. Lots of output nitrogen, which we can start doing here, I guess. Let's figure out how many distilleries do we need. We need about 8-ish. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I should do residual gas. I'm gonna be regretting it later. This is a huge source of free residual gas. It's only slightly less carbon dioxide I get. That says 480. I need a lot more than that. Hopefully, the rest of it can be made up with speed modules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put those in here. You need one still. What's that looking like? Ah, 1056. Perfect. Technically not enough. Are we for real? Fine. We'll get a regular beacon involved. Oh wait, no, that's a minus, 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 minus. Basically useless. I think a regular beacon down here will be more effective. No, that's still 4 minuses. I guess the way I've set this up, I would need it. Yeah, I haven't really been cognizant of being able to fit small beacons in. That's fine. We'll just do it this way. Once I have better, what are they called? Modules, then this will be fine. Now that's definitely not enough, but what is that? Ah, close. We put speed modules in here, does that get us all the way there? So we need 3520, and we have 3780. Okay, that's actually enough. These numbers don't line up. Oh, that's wait, no, shouldn't I need even more air for 1080 carbon dioxide? Is the residual gas recipe more efficient? Oh, it is. 100 air to 30 versus 150 air to 40. Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay, so that actually saves me some headache there. Now, it'd be really nice if we could get like a solid ratio here, rather than connecting them all. So if I connect 3 to 2, that seems to be pretty good. So those 3 to those 2, I'm short a little bit of air. These 3 to these 2, I have a little bit of net air. I think that's okay. These 2 and these 2. Yeah, that's plenty of net air. So we actually can connect this one to here. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay. We're gonna need to call it an episode soon, but let's get all this hooked up. We also need some more roboports here. Okay, so that's all handled. Residual gas. I'm using a different recipe. How much do we get? Up to 100? That's not bad. So then we can do one of our little compressing and active gas barreling. Wait, do we compress residual gas? I forget. Compressed residual gas is used for argon and compressed trace. What about regular residual? Where's regular residual gas? You literally can't even decompress residual gas. That's interesting. It's made to make argon and trace gas. Trace gas is helium, and argon is used in stuff. So wait, are you telling me that if I want regular argon... Oh no, you can't decompress argon. Okay, good. I was about to be real salty about that. Okay, so then this... Wait, can you compress residual gas? Oh, you can't. So you have to use the compressed air recipe to ever get compressed residual gas. So over here, am I just compressing the air itself? Is that what I'm doing? Yeah, that's what I was doing for this. Oh, that's really annoying. Because the compressed nitrogen is a huge power sink. And looking back on that, I probably shouldn't have done it that way either. Well, we'll just have to use some priority turbine. I don't want to compress all this. But I don't want to mix compressed residual gas and non-compressed residual gas. Ah! So should I just rework this? I probably should rework that. We'll rework that one. I don't want compressed residual gas. There's not enough of it that I'm ever going to need per second to need it to be compressed. And I just waste so much power compressing the air before the nitrogen. At least that's what I thought I figured out, but then on the other build, I built it the other way. Why did I do it that way? I'm not totally sure. Oh, maybe I just didn't care because that's only like 12 megawatts compared to the electrolyzers in the first place. It's not actually that expensive. Maybe that's why I did it. And maybe why I should do the same thing here. It kind of doesn't actually matter all that much in the grand scope of things. That's why I did it. So we need some compressors up in here. And then we'll call it an episode after this because I'm starting to run out of time here. So that's probably no, I probably need more than 6. Let's think about this for a second. So that can handle up to 780. Switching the recipe around. Oh, the other nice thing is this recipe's way cheaper. So I actually only need half as many of these. That's a pretty big difference, I guess. That's where you save electricity, is in the distilleries using half. So that, I guess, helps a bit. Okay, so these alone, 318 times 4, that's more than I needed. I need 1,000. Well, I really need like 250. Can I take off that one? Yep, sure can. And then I will just do a single beacon here. Will that get me 255? What was I looking at for CO2 needed? 250 plus, I really need 270. Oh, we just need this one to be down here. I think that'll get me there. 264. Oh, come on. Are you really gonna be that picky? How about this? Is that good enough for you? Yeah, 271. There we go. Okay, so then we're gonna need compressors. On air. Oop. And that's up to 780. We need 905, so that's not quite enough. That'll do it. Now that needs like 3,000. So I actually need to do this slightly different. Because really, like, 2 of these need a bunch of air compressors. Or, sorry, air filters. Maybe I should use undergrounds. Saves me a few pipe segments. So yeah, those make 630. This needs 520. It's close enough. So I'll just copy that. Is that enough? 780. 3120 original gas. We're using this recipe. Well, yeah, we're using this recipe now. So we need 900 compressed gas. How much did this say it works? 780. Okay, we still need a couple more. Or at least one more. 780, that is 910. Perfect. So then we can just hook all these up. All right, there we go. And we'll figure the rest of that out in a bit, because we're going to have to call it an episode there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you all next time.